All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Your Detroit Lions are 15-2 blowout victory against the Minnesota Vikings this evening. The defense was unbelievable. The offense eventually figured it out at a more consistent rate, but I don't know, man. If you're a Vikings fan, you probably shouldn't watch this video. I don't mean any disrespect to a Vikings fan watching this video. My Packers just lost to the Chicago stupid freaking Bears earlier today. My point is, the Detroit Lions big broed the Minnesota Vikings today. They big broed them. And this is a really good representation here. It is 4th and goal, the start of the third quarter, and Sam Darnold throws for it, and there's Terrion Arnold just providing lockdown coverage. Lockdown coverage. That's Jordan Addison right there, number 3. The defense for the Detroit Lions today, unfortunately, I feel like we do this every single time the Lions play football. There were a couple of unfortunate injuries, specifically Terrion Arnold that you just watched on this clip here, who had a great football game up until around this point where he had to be carted off with an injury. And we do this every single week for the Detroit Lions, yet you guys finished 15-2. You're the number 1 team in the NFC. You just won the NFC North. And I know these kind of accomplishments don't mean anything as long as or until we get to the hopeful promised land, et cetera, et cetera. Like, my point is, I know these accomplishments, the eye's still on the prize to win the Super Bowl, but still, 15-2 for this Detroit Lions team. Huge win against the Minnesota Vikings at home. And, honestly, Amik Robertson, Terrion Arnold here in this clip, Vildor, this secondary absolutely played out of their mind. This is, to me, one of the biggest plays of the game. It is 7-6. Detroit's winning. The Minnesota Vikings had just kicked a field goal prior to this, and you have one timeout for the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff, beautiful pass right there to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and basically what this does is eventually a couple of plays later, one play later with the timeout, it gets Detroit into field goal range, and it makes it a 10-6 game. And we'll talk about all this. But before we do, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. The Detroit Lions, man, NFC North victors. Number 1 seed, you have 2 home playoff games on your slate. I've said it for so long, and I know you guys are probably sick of hearing it by now, but if the Detroit Lions had home field advantage last year against San Francisco, I had a hard time seeing them lose it. So this is a really big deal. I don't think the Minnesota Vikings are toast. But folks, before we get any further into tonight's video, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Post a ton of Lions videos on this channel as well. We could try and get this one, folks, above and beyond to 500 likes. That would mean the absolute world to me. Jahmyr Gibbs, player of the game. Let me get through some statistics. First off, this is Jahmyr Gibbs' first touchdown. This is the end of the first quarter. We'll dissect this. We're trying a new layout on all these videos. The Lions had the football for 35 minutes. All right, they had 390 yards of offense as opposed to Minnesota's 263. They had 231 passing yards. I get it, Jared Goff threw 2 interceptions. We'll talk about that in a second. But Sam Darnold only had 166. The Lions, led by Jahmyr Gibbs, ran the ball for 173 yards. Gibbs himself, 23 carries, 139 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, like you're seeing on the screen right here to kick off this game. And you also saw 5 catches for 31 yards and a touchdown. So Jahmyr Gibbs had 4 total touchdowns in tonight's game, which means he is the leading touchdown guy in the entire National Football League. Now, this was a 31-9 victory where, like I said in this previous clip, and this is why I really wanted to showcase it, and I'll show it one more time, it's 7-6. This play to Amon-Ra St. Brown sets up 10-6 from Jake Bates. But this defense sets up just getting the ball back. I mean, the defense, Amik Robertson just had one of the greatest games in Detroit Lions defensive back recent history. And this is Jahmyr Gibbs receiving touchdown. This is 10-9. So all this, as you can kind of see, is leading up to each other. The Lions did not give up, folks, a defensive touchdown tonight. The Minnesota Vikings did not have a touchdown. Now, like I said, even though I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, I'm wearing a stupid, actually really stupid because of today's Chicago Bears hat. I love the Packers. I love the Detroit Lions. I very much enjoy the Minnesota Vikings. And I don't hate the Chicago Bears because I'm born and raised in Chicagoland area. This Detroit Lions team, this is 4th and 2. Dan Campbell's big ball on it, and just kind of like almost a little slant-ish route to Jahmyr Gibbs on literally 4th and 2. And by the way, the Minnesota Vikings defensively, this touchdown pass, they were phenomenal. Jared Goff got sacked 2 times. He threw 2 interceptions. One of them was a deep shot, and it was to Jameson Williams and Harrison Smith. It was just kind of a bad throw. It was kind of just a weird play, and Harrison Smith easily intercepted it. The second one was a very interesting. Jonathan Grenard, I believe, the edge guy for the Vikings, tipped it, what led to an Ivan Pace interception, and it was inside the Detroit 20. And once again, the Detroit Lions defense held strong. We're about to pull up a couple of clips. Let's just get it out of the way here. We got a Zadarius Smith sack. This is early on in the game. It's 7-0 Detroit. So I will say this. The Kevin Zeitler injury, first off, absolutely sucks. The Terrion Arnold injury absolutely sucks. I don't know the severity of either of these 2 injuries. Zeitler looked very upset. He dropped an F-bomb clear on television when he had hit the medical tent towards the end of the game, and Terrion Arnold got carted off. I felt very similar. Alex Anzalone also, by the way, made his return today. You see this Zadarius Smith sack. They're just bringing 4. Darnold scrambling a little bit. Honestly, the whole game, Sam Darnold didn't have much time to throw. Muhammad had a sack. You see the other sacks at Zadarius Smith right here today. Sam Darnold was under pressure a lot. Aaron Glenn just called a phenomenal defensive game. And that's the biggest concern, is not even all these injuries the Lions are sustaining. It's crap. Ben Johnson's a stud. Aaron Glenn's also a stud. And they just made a huge statement in tonight's game on Sunday Night Football for the number 1 seed in the NFC. I mean, these 2 coordinators are phenomenal. I know these are only just 2 clips. Once again, I'm not the NFL. I wish I could show you a full game. That's kind of what we tried to do in all 22 once the week progresses. But I mean, this defense, seriously, man, it was phenomenal. Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Melifonwu had some great tackles. Amik Robertson just had quite literally a phenomenal game. And if the secondary wasn't holding up, if these defense backs weren't holding up, that's not a sack, right? It's probably a first down. This last play here is Jahmyr Gibbs' 3rd touchdown, which pretty much sealed the deal here. Once again, I'm sorry these clips kind of got to be cut short. We'll wait for all 22 tape in a day or 2. This is just beautiful. This pretty much sealed the deal. And once again, Minnesota did a really, really good job, in my opinion, keeping this game close, being competitive. They didn't capitalize enough on the Detroit Lions turnovers. And if Detroit's turning the ball over 2 times, like if Jared Goff's throwing 2 picks and they're still scoring over 30, that's a tough recipe to beat. So enjoy the number 1 seed. Enjoy your bye week. Detroit Lions 15-2, franchise record breaking. Jahmyr Gibbs, most touchdowns in the National Football League. But folks, job's not finished. I'm sure Dan Campbell's going to preach it. We'll have plenty of Lions videos to you guys in the next couple of days. So thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, and give me your thoughts on this Lions-Vikings game down below, because we got a live stream to record